Hi guys, just gonna go through the passenger side of the vehicle with you. Starting at the front door. I'll give a full interior view later, but when it comes to spinning these front seats around, I like to do it out here. It's good to have the door open because the door actually can block the seat from spinning. So all you're gonna do, there's a latch on the center that rotates that, but it'll hit the door or the wall. So you actually have to use the controls on the door to make the seat go forward or back in order to get the full spin. It becomes pretty obvious when you're doing it, but people try to do it from the inside and they really struggle. So doing it from out here really seems to help and make it easier for me. This is a storage compartment. I've got it loaded with some typical camping gear, usually. A little mini solo stove in case you don't have a big fire pit. There's a first aid kit. There is some tent spikes if you use the awnings and want to spike them down, ground spikes. There is just some cleaning supplies, a little citronella candle. There is leveling blocks. If you park somewhere uneven, you can build a little platform under one of the wheels in order to level the vehicle. Some bungees that just come in handy quite often. Some laundry detergent. If you get somewhere, a campground that's got some laundry or something, you don't have to go buy your own thing. This is a little camp mini ammo can propane fire pit. I will show you in another video. And then just a little tree trimmer. If you get if you're trying to pull in a campsite and one branch is in the way or something, you can pop this little saw out, get branches out of the way. There is an inverter and a battery switch in there. You shouldn't ever have to touch that. The next one is also storage. In here, I've got some extra cleaning wipes. I usually keep a Milwaukee lantern / light, really handy, battery operated. There is a shop vac in the back, a Milwaukee shop vac that uses the same battery as that you can use. For the battery, there's a battery charger should you deplete that battery. And then this is a jump start pack. If the vehicle is dead, you can jump yourself, get it going. And I'll explain later on the interior why sometimes the battery goes dead, because everything's not shut off properly. Super easy to avoid, super easy to remedy if that should happen to you. In this compartment, we've got propane. There's 2 cans here. It's just your normal 20-pound cans that you would use for your home grill. This compartment doesn't lock. All the rest of them do, just because if there's a fire or something, they want to be able to get in here and shut this down. I just carry some extra, somewhat dirty rags here. But the way I use the propane is I use one at a time. If you have them both on and you run out, you're just out and dead. If you have one on and one off, if you run out, you still have the other one you can turn on, finish your night or whatever, and then replace the one so that you're not ever stranded in the middle of the night or middle of a camping trip without any. So I like to use them one at a time. So you can select on, off, left and right here and open them as you see fit. So there's a 110 outlet out here. You can plug in outdoor household accessories, as well as an antenna port if you want to put an outdoor TV out here. This is the propane. This is an outdoor propane connection for a grill or for that little fire pit I'm going to show you in a few minutes. This is the Truma water heater / furnace. You shouldn't have to do anything. That's a service panel. Back here is a huge storage compartment. I'll go through what I usually have in here. This can be used for whatever. It's your rental, your use. I like to keep dirty clothes in there that I don't want. If I get muddy, dirty stuff that I don't want in the camper, I'll take my clothes off here, put them in there. I tend to do stuff that gets me dirty. This little thing is just suction cupped on the wall, and this is a garbage bag. Pretty simple, nice. It's nice to come here, wipe your hands with these wipes I have here, throw them in the garbage. But when I'm camping, it's also just suction cups. So when I'm camping, I will usually put it right here. push the little buttons, and now I have a garbage there. Just super handy, you can put it anywhere. Furthermore in here, this is the Milwaukee vacuum that I was referring to. There's extra, it's basically a shop vac. There's a battery inside. That battery also works the lantern and is charged by that Milwaukee battery. I have some extension cords in there, extra. Up here on the roof, there is a windshield cover. It's 3 pieces. One covers, well, there's one for each door. It covers the door, windows, and then one piece that goes completely across the windshield. What that does is keeps the sun out, keeps the heat out, gives you more privacy. There's other options for that as well that I can show you when we're inside. I also include, there's 3 camp chairs, 2 beach chairs, and then a couple small fold-up tables and a little fold-up stool. The table is handy just to set out with the chairs. A lot of times I'll set it kind of right in the middle of the van, things like that. And then lots of different options. There's just another little doormat if I'm not using the big floor, big camp mat. I will sometimes just set that little mat at the bottom of the stairs to wipe your feet off before you get inside. I do include that big kind of wicker mat in all the rentals, so feel free to use that. There's a couple garden hoses here, as well as a Campground 30 amp cord to plug the van into the campground. 2 bicycles will typically fit in here. You might have to take the wheels off. I don't usually put them in there, but it is more than large enough for that. This is the water compartment. We'll just work our way all the way around. From here, this is where you put the garden hose in and fill it. Just use a hose, and then what I usually use is I put this little thing on the end of a garden hose. There's an on-off switch, and then you can slide that in there, let the garden hose fill it. It'll start coming out once it's full, so it's pretty obvious. There's also a hot and cold tap here with a hose and a faucet, so if you want to rinse yourself off, rinse off bike, rinse off whatever equipment, you can do that here. This is an adapter to go on the bottom of the gray water should you want to use just a garden hose to drain the gray water. A lot of times if people are boondocking, they don't necessarily want to use a dump site since it's just soapy water and the big dump hose. They'll just use this and just put it on the ground. Some people, I know it's common, they just let it trickle out while they're camping. Or if you find somewhere you just don't want to use the big hose, this is a handy little adapter to have. There's also some rubber gloves in here in case you do get into some of that dirty work and don't want the stuff on your hands. Other than that, most of this other stuff is for winterizing, draining, things you don't really have to worry about in normal use. You can hook a garden hose here to the freshwater inlet and leave it on the whole time. I really don't ever do that. The tank holds a lot. I usually just fill up the tank, and that's usually good for a few days for when I'm camping, and then I don't always have the hose hanging there. There is a light here. A lot of times I'll throw that on at night. It's just kind of nice night light on this side. So all of these compartments do lock, other than the propane on the other side. This is your 30 amp receptacle for the campground. That will utilize this big black hose, or I'm sorry, not big black hose, but this big black cord. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out. That was hanging up in here. So you'll see the end. This is the end that goes to the camper. There's 2 straight prongs and 1 crooked prong, or 1 prong with a 90. You line that up to the corresponding 90 on there. Plug that in. You can screw that in. And then this end plugs into your campsite pedestal. 30 amp pedestal. If you are just camping at a home or something that doesn't have a 30 amp pedestal, I will make another video on how to use a home outlet. It's a little different cord, a little different process and adapter, but that is certainly doable. There's also a larger, besides the little fold-up table we have there, there's the larger white kind of card table type table there you can pull out. I like to set that kind of over under that garbage can on the other side. This is a 180-degree awning. It swings out and comes all the way across and attaches on that side. I'll show that in a different video. This is a solar hookup if you have exterior solar, which I don't typically ever use. This is the exhaust for the water heater. So this can get hot sometimes if you've got water furnace running. So be aware of that. These are all equipment, so you really don't ever have to access these. This is your cassette toilet. I will actually make a separate video for that. I'll run you through it here right now. But when you want to dump the toilet contents, you pull this out. There's actually a little handle. You can walk around with it. Walk into a gas station, walk into a truck stop, walk into a rest area, pull that out, and then you just pull this, slide that out, pull a cap off, and you can dump it into any normal toilet, public or private. Super clean, super easy. I prefer it over the dump tanks because I don't use campgrounds a lot. I don't like to have to go find a campground with a dump site to pull out the hose and dump it into a hole in the ground. I like being able to go into any bathroom and just dump this. The key to this is empty it every day if you're actively using it. Don't wait until it's full and it's 6 gallons and it's super heavy and harder to manage and handle and pour without making a mess. I like to dump it every day when it's light and easy. Just makes it a lot less stressful. I think that's it for the outside. Again, those 3 compartments, that's batteries, that's plumbing equipment. Don't need to do anything in there. Generator, don't need to access those for anything. I think that's it for now.